Welcome! Today my guest is the amazing Katie Bargett, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her story of how when COVID hit and she was running a service-based business, what happened and how she was able to not only pivot but really reinvent herself and move from just a service-based business to also an online product-based business. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Katie.
Hello.
Hi, Katie.
How are you doing?
Now you're on. You seem to be mute at the moment. So we'll just get you off.
Not on me.
So just a bit of a story. Whenever Carmen and I go to Sydney, we get a photo shoot with Katie because she's an amazing photographer. Well, she's very creative, so she's got lots of very entrepreneurial. So if you go on to the Carmen and Maureen or Maureen and Carmen Facebook page, which is Calling All Legends Doing Business Their Way, you'll see some recent photos with Katie. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Do you want to speak? Because I cannot hear you.
Oh, okay. So can you hear me now? We're having some technical difficulties this end, and we will be back with you shortly.
Take two, we're talking to the amazing Katie Bargett, who's going to be sharing her journey through COVID and how she pivoted from a service-based business to a product business. Welcome, Katie.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yay!
Yay!
I always start the show by asking amazing people like you to share something quirky or interesting about yourself.
Okay. I think basically me, quirky, interesting, but I don't see dead people, but I do talk to spirits. So kind of different. Can you just
tell me a little bit about that?
I used to have a lot of imaginary friends when I was younger. My mother thought that I was a bit kooky, that I would talk to myself basically in the extremely cold room at the front of the house, but I was actually talking to a young boy who had died back in the Victorian era called Henry. I also found out that people had died in the house that we were in, which was wonderful. And I can feel a lot of spirits around me. So I don't always talk to them. I don't always see them, but I definitely pick up on them enormously. I think I've turned it off or turned the dial down quite a lot because it used to interfere.
Excellent. Well, it just sounds fascinating. So obviously, you know, you have these special gifts and you're pretty quirky all round. And quite entrepreneurial. So tell us a little bit about what happened for you during COVID and your journey.
So I have thankfully still a very brilliant, profitable boutique photography business. I shoot events. I'm a lead TEDx photographer. And I also do a lot of portraits, branding, and personal branding. I used to do weddings and food and product and had no niche until I realized that I'm actually really good with people, and that's what I want to do. I either want to switch off and walk around an event and be creative, or I want to work with other people and help them bring out their essence, not only of themselves and how they show themselves and want to be seen, but also how to showcase their branding for their business or their products. When COVID hit, I had 35 events lined up throughout the year. I had a number of different personal branding sessions, corporate photos, all of this. And literally by mid-February through to mid-March, everything went. My entire livelihood as I knew it, because if I wasn't physically there, I earned nothing.
Yeah.
Lots of tears, lots of tears. But then when I zipped myself up and I pulled myself together, I realized that this was an amazing opportunity for me to, first of all, rest, which was such a gift. I cooked, I gardened, I read books. I actually took time out. I'm normally such a go-getter and I'm constant that I don't give myself enough balance time to stop. So COVID was a gift for me in that way. Like, I'm lucky I didn't lose any family. Most of my family are in the UK and Europe. I didn't lose any family, so I'm very lucky. And I got time out for myself. But what I had to do after that was pivot. And actually, my partner and I discussed this last night. It wasn't pivot. I had to reestablish myself in a different way in order for me to actually, create in the world so that I felt on purpose and some kind of part of the stream of life. So instead of doing one of my passions, which is photography, I looked to other passions. And I love essential oils. So I'd never before really become a customer or anything, and I'd used them for about 12 years. And a girlfriend of mine introduced me to doTERRA essential oils. And I was like, boom, these are incredible. And actually, they are incredible. As far as essential oils go, for me, they are one of the top. But network marketing, yes and no. yes, it's brilliant when you've got a shit ton. I probably can't swear on here. Sorry. Okay. Okay, good. When you've got a shit ton of energy and you just constant, you're turning the wheel. But COVID, we couldn't do too many in-person events, etc., etc. And I was chasing my tail and it was just not aligned. I tried, I hit a dead end. So I pivoted again. And I teamed up with a good girlfriend of mine who I'd actually studied a healing modality through, who had become a good girlfriend of mine. She was a crystal teacher, a healer, a light worker. So now you can see I'm kind of tapping into the streams that had been running through me since I was a kid, but I'd never fully given space and time to. So I stepped into another part of me, which has created itself into this incredible little product business that is blowing my mind on a daily basis. And now that I'm back running photography and also doing this other business on the side, it's like I feel really balanced. I feel really in line. But unless I'd actually gone there and looked at other parts of me in order to expand myself and to put money in my pocket, I would never have stumbled into this.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's, you know, in a way, the situation forced you to reassess,
reestablish, and look at who I am and what I have to offer, know my worth. And through all of it, I think that we forget how much we have as our capacity to be here and show up in the world. We think we have to stay in one lane, and we don't. Now, another part of me understanding that aspect of myself was last year I really tapped into something called human design, which is a whole other topic. But human design, you basically split up into particular categories, not quite like astrology, but it's based on a lot of different aspects similar to that. And it made so much sense to me. And I'm what's called a manifesting generator, which is basically someone who loves, when it feels right, to initiate and start projects. And it's something that I love doing. Like, I have this entrepreneurial spirit. I'm bloody good at startups. And reassessing 100%.
Yeah. And so what was the key learning of that that pivoting or reinvention of a startup business in a very different area to what you were in?
It was a magnificent opportunity to try something new. To be honest, I'd never worked on, had a product business. I'm still learning. I'm at the very beginning of it. I'm very proud of myself to what I've accomplished and we've accomplished so far. But I'm literally at the touch point of how best can I do this? And it's really exciting. And I'm getting to have conversations with people who have run product businesses for so long. So I'm expanding my understanding of what's out there in the market and how I can show up and bring these incredible products to people.
Yeah, awesome. And this is going to be seem like a very elementary question, but what are essential oils?
Essential oils, in my interpretation of plant medicine. So essential oils are basically either they're parts of the plant. So they could be the leaf, the flower, or the stalk, depending on what part of the plant is used. And generally what they are, how the extraction process is created is there's steam. It's through steam distillation. And so it's taking these highly volatile compounds, which are the tiny molecules, the essential oils, and extracting them out of the plant. So rose oil, for example, we know it can be very expensive, and you don't want to be buying cheap rose oil because it will be synthetic. Rose oil for one tiny small 5 ml bottle will take something like 5,000 petals to create. So essential oils have been used for thousands of years in healing, and not just healing our emotions, but healing our bodies, healing physical ailments. I mean, a lot of people nowadays who live a low tox life actually have, more of a natural medicine cabinet than anything. And the thing with essential oils is they're actually able to, bit sciencey, but basically our cells have an oily membrane on the outside. And a lot of the medicines or synthetic drugs that we're given to combat disease or bacteria, etc., they're water-based, so they can't actually permeate that oily membrane. But with an essential oil, it permeates it because it's oil itself. So it goes direct into the belly of the muscle, into the belly of the cell, and is able to create cellular changes from that perspective. So I think for me, essential oils are amazing.
Yeah. So can you give me, so I got that. So what I hear, so they've, their oils themselves, they break through into the cell itself through the oily membrane. So, and then they change the structure of the cell. So could you give me an example of what they might be used as, essential oils, in terms of health benefits?
Absolutely. Let's look at peppermint. So peppermint being, it's a strong awakening smell. So you'll smell it, and through your olfactory nerve in your nose, it goes through, passes the blood-brain barrier, goes into your bloodstream, and the scent of that peppermint is actually going to enliven and awaken you. If you use it topically, it will help, and maybe combine it with lavender, it will help headaches and muscular tension. 1 drop of peppermint oil is the same as 28 cups of peppermint tea. So you can understand now it will work on your digestive process as well. So that's just peppermint, and that's literally just 3 things or 4 things off the top of my head. Lavender is another. It's like the Swiss Army knife of essential oils. Lavender is going to calm you. Lavender is going to enable communication. Lavender is going to soothe anxiety. Lavender is going to enable sleep. And it could simply be from you just opening the bottle and smelling it. That's how profound these oils are. So an aromatherapist will actually work with you to create a blend that is unique to what you need it for, and how it actually works. Like for us in these products, we're quite woo-woo. We've pendulum tested what the bottles need, and they're amazing. They work intrinsically to enable communication, activate your cellular life force, to reduce fatigue. I mean, there's so much that essential oils can do. And actually, on that note, doTERRA themselves, that are a worldwide company, are actually looking at setting up doctors' clinics to use essential oils predominantly only to actually heal people.
Yeah. And so so it sounds amazing in terms of, and I'm quite science-based, logical person, but I like a bit of woo-woo in my life.
Don't we all?
So I went to alternative to Western medicine, I suppose. All up for trying different things. So you've said, say one of those ones like lavender oil.
Mm-hmm.
So how does it do all these things? You say it enters a cell and it changes the makeup of the cell. So like I'm trying to process, for me, how does that have these amazing benefits for you?
So your olfactory nerve is basically, your senses make up how you interact with your environment. We see, we speak, we smell, we touch, we taste. Your olfactory nerve, your sense of smell, is one of the strongest. And it informs your body what's going on in your environment. You know, you might not be hungry, but you walk into a supermarket and they're baking bread at the end of the aisle, and you're like, now suddenly you might start to feel hungry because your body is responding to your environment. So it's the same thing with essential oils. You're smelling something. So let's say you asked, how does it enter? I predominantly will either use my oils topically, so I'll put them on my skin and always with a carrier oil, or I'll diffuse them using a diffuser, so a steam diffuser in the air. And basically what happens is the oil will go onto these tiny little water droplets, and I'll breathe them in. So I'm breathing in via my nose, hitting the blood-brain barrier, going into my bloodstream, going into my cells, this tiny amount of essential oil. So it's entering my body and it's having its, if it's lavender, sedative effect, calming any anxiety, enabling me to actually feel more grounded and step into life a little bit more in a really calm way. So I definitely think for anyone who has anxiety, I mean, they've done studies with kids with ADHD where they've actually put vetiver as an oil in a classroom, and they're more focused. Peppermint in a classroom, more focused.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't think it's wide enoughly known, if that's a sentence.
So it sounds like it sends messages to your other cells or your brain, like, because I'm trying to make sense of, so you smell it in and then what happens? But obviously it sends messages to your brain, does it?
Yeah, because your nervous system, that's how it works. It's constantly interacting with your brain. Look, I'm not a doctor, so in terms of explaining the absolute intricacies of how it would actually work, I would absolutely say look elsewhere, talk to someone. I love essential oils. Essential oils make up a quarter of what we have in our product. I use the essential oils based on, and I've got a ton here, and I use them based on trusting my intuition of what feels right, as well as doing my research into what each one does. And they work on an emotional aspect. They work on a physical aspect. They also work on a mental and spiritual aspect. You'll have particular ones that are really good for chakras. How do they know this? They've done their research. Different companies come out with different blends based on what that blend is being used for. It might be a sleep blend, it might be a calm blend, it might be a focus blend, it might be an anointing blend. If you think back to the Bible and the Old Testament, they used frankincense and myrrh and laurel leaf to anoint. That's how they would do it. And what they found with frankincense was when they anointed with frankincense, it actually had this effect on the brain to quieten down the mind and enter a more meditative state.
Yeah, that's great. We've got a question from Charles. What oils do you recommend for remote workers to relieve stress?
Lavender is so easy to go straight for, but it depends, because relieving stress, is that about focus? So you need to ask more questions. And if you ever go and buy oils from someone, get to the root cause, because what we tend to do a lot in the world is we go out and we say, I'm not sleeping well. I need a pill to sleep better. But what we have to do is understand, why are you not sleeping well? So where's the stress coming from? So yes, we can say, like lavender, easy, go out there, do lavender, it's going to calm you. But if you don't actually need calming, and what you need instead is clearing confusion and bringing you back to clarity, then you're going to need different oils. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And that's a really good thing. I think it's not just the quick fix. Actually think about what the problem really is that you're trying to get support for. Now, you mentioned then that there's your products, there's oils in them. What else is there? Because you said the oils made up a small part of it. So do you want to show us one of your products and talk us through a little bit of that?
So if you can see, we've got a bit of light shining from my window here. There are 4 elements in this bottle. So when my fabulous business partner and I came together to actually create these, the things that I could bring to her and to the product were the essential oils, the understanding, and what she brought was something called biogeometry, which is similar to sacred geometry, but not. And I haven't studied it, she has, so I can give you my brief understanding of it, the depth of which is far more her bag. And then we also brought something in called GANs. Now, GANs is basically gas in a nano state. So there are 4 different, what we know of is 3 different states of matter. So you've got form, then liquid, then gas, and then plasma is the 4th state, which is gas in a nano state. It's a bit scientific. It is very scientific, actually. But what we actually do in ours, in the bottles that we have, it's kind of GANs. I'll explain first, and then I'll explain biogeometry. And I'm going to do it as simply as I possibly can. So GANs is basically the closest thing to source energy in this experience that we can state in terms of creating a balanced, harmonious effect. So it creates a frequency. So it can be used to attract, repel, or bring another element, object, plant, matter into balance. So it enables the body system to sort of retune and come back into focus. And we use it in the bottles to amplify and balance. So they're basically the easiest way to explain this, and apologies for the massive science nerdy part. The GANs is basically, we use metal GANs. So the metal is expanded, and the spaces and elements in between those spaces is what is extracted. And then it is created using water, particular water, and it creates this sediment-like plasma at the bottom with water on the top. And what we do is we take that and we put them into small little drams that sit in each bottle. I don't know if you can hear the clinking.
Yeah.
So we use carbon dioxide, zinc oxide, and iron oxide. So the carbon dioxide basically supports the nervous system, works on the emotional field, brings the neural system into balance, and it will activate cells, revitalize the body, strengthen the immune system. The zinc supports focus and emotional well-being. And the iron oxide supports the blood system and promotes energy flow. So that's what we use. Those 3 we use across both of those bottles. And the way that it looks is basically, when it's left to settle, it's like sediment. If I can explain to you, just to give you a really sort of brief explanation of how it works. I had never come across GANs before. I have now got a stick of it in my water filter at home. I've also got GANs sitting near my plants. Not this particular, this is just a dried thing. My plants in my apartment, some were good, some were not good. Since I've had the GANs near them, and literally just near them, they are so healthy. They actually use GANs now in agriculture because it's basically balancing and harmonizing the being, so the plant, within its environment to be the best of its potential that it can be, if that makes sense. So it doesn't just work on us, it works on plants, it works on animals. So that's GANs, and we found that through the KECHE Foundation, KECHE Foundation. Incredible stuff. That actually works. And then biogeometry, in its simplest form, it uses the principles of nature. So shape, form, color, to basically qualitatively balance the body's biological energy systems and harmonize their interactions with their environment, if that makes sense. So biogeometry, let me see if here we go. This is the easiest way. This is a book. So you can see all these crazy odd shapes. Okay, these are called biosignatures. Now what they do is they work to harmonize the body's organs, mental planes, spiritual planes, with its environment. So we're not separate from shape or angles, proportions that surround us at all. We are part of that environment. And what the biosignatures do is they create energetic patterns that introduce equilibrium and harmony. So the concept of energy in motion, tapping into the body's blockages from metaphysical to a physical clearing state. Was that sciencey enough for you?
Yeah, that was great. So, in terms of what, so you've talked about all the things that they can help with. So if people wanted to get a hold of some of the product or learn more, what should they do?
We have a website called ascensionalchemy.com.au. You can also find us on Instagram at ascension_alchemy. If you are in the market for a headshot or personal branding, like I do for Maureen and Carmen as well, you can find me at captarphoto or captarphoto.com.
Okay, great. And just say I'm feeling lacking in energy, or I want to try some of your product. What would you say would be a good starting point? Sort of an all-round thing that's going to energize me, or yeah. So this one?
For me personally, this is my go-to. We sell to a lot of healers and life coaches, and they use this a lot more. So this is the heavy hitter. It's called the Shield. It's basically going to clear negative thoughts, negative belief patterns. It's going to clear the space of energy, attachments, entities, things like that. It's very much a banisher of other people's stuff that has been projected onto you. So if you work in an office, or you're working in a supermarket, or you're around a lot of people where you're absorbing a lot of energy, I personally use this daily anyway. So I will get out the shower, I will spray this, and I will spray this before I go to bed, because I'm clearing my field. Yeah. This is my favorite. This is like joy and absolute presence in a bottle. So this is like a smudge stick, and this is joy. So what this does, and it works within 5 to 7 minutes, it's actually incredible. It will awaken you. So it will cut any confusion or cloud or blur that you might be sitting in, and it will cut it immediately and bring you back to your heart center, totally present and joyful. And we get incredible testimonials from both of them. This is 100% my favorite though, 100%, and it's called The First.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So if people would like to get a hold of those, they can go to your website, which is coming on the screen now, and also go to your Instagram. So the Instagram is ascension_alchemy. And the website again
is ascensionalchemy.com.au. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Katie. I found it fascinating. I think I need to get some for me. I need that clearing one. After I told you about my interaction with my son, and then I need the other one to.
This is really good for communication as well, by the way. So you spray this around him.
Oh, definitely. I think I need some right now. Thanks for joining us today. I love the way that you shared the science behind it, shared your passion, and shared the way that you've actually pivoted or followed another passion of yours during COVID and helping people in the process.
I think the end takeaway is, do not be limited. Do not think you're in a box. You have the ability to be and do whatever you wish in this life.
Excellent. What beautiful parting words. Okay, thanks, Katie.
So if you'd like to see more interviews with amazing business owners sharing extraordinary insights, click subscribe, then click the bell button, then click all, and we'll notify you.